7 o'clock. Okay. Ready to call the meeting to order? Roll call.
Huber,
Yes, here.
Loest,
Here.
Kettering,
Here.
Hummel,
Here.
O'Hara, Welsh,
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Okay. Do you have any discussion or approval of minutes from the previous meeting?
Move approval, Loest.
Second Welsh.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approve them minutes as opposed. Is there any items to be added to tonight's agenda?
No.
No items to be added. Do we have someone who wants to approve tonight's agenda?
So move, Loest.
I'll second Huber.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's work one at a time for conflict of interest.
Loest, none.
Kettering, none. Welsh, none.
Hummel, none.
Huber, none. Clark, none.
Okay. Looking at the time, it is 7:01, so let's move up the plat.
All right, we have the Bykov plat of tract 1, Bykov addition, an addition in the north half of the northwest quarter of section 14, township 93 north, range 57 west of the 5th PM, Yankton County, South Dakota. Basically what they're doing is just cleaning up their property that they just bought. As you can see on Beacon, they own 2 parcels. This one and, oops, excuse me. Put that.
Quit it.
This one and this one.
Okay.
They just combined them to make one, cleaned it up because this building was sitting right on the property line.
Oh, yeah.
And so it just makes everything a little more conforming.
Cool.
Still closer to compliance.
Yeah, closer.
Do we have any public comment on that plat? Seeing none. Commissioner discussion?
Makes sense.
Yep.
Move approval, Loest.
Second, Clark. Okay, roll call vote.
Huber,
Yes.
Loest,
Yes.
Kettering,
Yes.
Hummel,
Yes.
Clark, or excuse me, Welsh,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes. Okay. We'll have to wait until about another 2 minutes to do our ordinance public hearing. Do we have anything that the commission would like to discuss during this time? That's not on the agenda. Kid must be getting home from church. The doorbell's going off. Okay, it is now 7:05, so we can move on to the next thing on our agenda, which is public hearing for the ordinance ZN 2503.
So last meeting, we went through Article 11, the additions to that, and the repeal of Article 27. This ordinance also takes care of Article 4 maps. We have to update the zoning maps every year with a public hearing, so it's more of a formality. We have to update the master map, and then District 3 makes a new one. We post it in the office so anybody can come in and see it. And this just has the rezones added from last year, or this year, excuse me.
Commission, do you guys have any questions or comments on?
What are we gonna start with, the maps or maybe that'd be easier.
Probably makes sense to start with the maps and then,
Okay, so really the only thing we're changing is where we approve slight rezones.
Correct.
And do we have any PUDs that we added? I
Not
didn't
this year,
think so
No.
on that.
So any
Okay.
rezones this year are reflected on this master map
Okay,
and on each individual regional map.
and we do that once a year? Yeah, okay.
We staff are a bunch and then it depends on some other departments too, but, you'll see if you look at the chart, there's about double in size from the last update.
What do you mean? What about double?
Chart of all the read zones on the left.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying, wait a second. Okay, I gotcha.
It was bolded
Okay.
on half of that.
Okay, so that's essentially all
All
This
parcels.
year. or
That's all of them.
that's all of them?
But-
Okay,
Significant.
And here,
They-
yes.
okay. Gotcha. Okay.
well, look what you started, Gary.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of it was the rural transition, trying to get that really truly assigned,
Big part.
because there is still quite a bit of it out there on that. Okay, I didn't have any questions on any of the maps then. Since technically all of it's been approved, it just needs to be updated. Okay.
So then we have Article 11 and the additions that were basically taken from Article 27 and added to Article 11 Lakeside Commercial.
Yeah, and I had asked Gary if when all of that, Gary and Bill, and if all of that language, when they plunked it and inserted it, what was left behind. So essentially, 2701, 3, 5, 7 were all deleted. They were not copied forward. So when you look through those things, I think 2703, it is worth looking at its prohibited uses. So what that was saying is they had a list of things that could not be in this corridor, like hazardous waste storage. I can't think are there any zones that allow hazardous waste storage? So not a big deal because it's not allowed in our county zoning. The next one is manufacturing as stated in definitions, which when you look at Lakeside Commercial, manufacturing, cannabis product manufacturing facility is allowed. But I didn't see anything on the list of conditional uses or permitted uses where that would be a problem. So because we are taking Lakeside Commercial and, or not Lakeside, but we're taking this 52 and putting it in Lakeside Commercial. So my concern is, here we'll get to one, mobile home, modular home, and manufactured home sales. Okay, right now, it is not allowed along 52. That type, if you look at Article 11, open sales are allowed. Okay, so what are open sales? Then you go to the definition and let me get to it. Sorry, I didn't have it pulled up. open sales area, any open land or area used or occupied for the purpose of displaying for sale new or secondhand merchandise, including but not limited to passenger cars and trucks, farm machinery, construction machinery, motor scooters or motorcycles, boats, trailers, aircraft, and monuments. Could you sell mobile homes under that? Because right now it is forbidden along 52, but we are taking that language out. And now we are relying on lakeside commercial. I'm just throwing it out there because I always look to see what damage you're going to do when you change things. Is that a problem? So could someone now, if we do this and it all gets approved, come in and say, well, I'd like, and in fact, it's permitted. Could they come to Gary and say, well, under open sales area, I mean, technically it's not limited to those. It's kind of similar to selling campers. Give me a permit. Actually, you don't even need a permit. So,
It
How-
is permitted.
right. So that's what I'm saying is if this is all changed and now all of a sudden, I don't, you never think, oh, that no one would want to sell manufactured homes out there, but
Am I right?
you've seen different things when you go through Iowa and all the things around all their lakes. Could they be selling something? So that's something we need to consider and how to handle that. What was the next? The next one was mobile home parks. I don't think that's a problem because mobile home parks aren't allowed in lakeside commercial, so not a problem. Pawn shops. As stated in the definition section, so pawn shops right now are excluded along there. Well, if it goes into lakeside commercial, could a pawn shop essentially be retail sales? And that's permitted. Okay, so we've got two things, selling manufactured homes and pawn shops that could sneak in, I think. And then we've got residential houses, which right now are allowed in Lakeside, but you have to have a CUP. So I don't foresee that having a problem because at least it has to come before the board. You've got salvage or junkyard operations, which I know those aren't allowed, so I don't think that's a problem. And what the heck is a tow lot?
You have a tow truck and you're bringing home stuff to the yard and parking it in the yard.
Okay,
But that would be the primary, it'd have to be the primary. So if you are a mechanic shop that tows and say the mechanic shop was permitted
right.
and you tow as a secondary nature of your business, you would be permitted if I read it right, because I kind of had to walk myself through that particularly. So
It's the only place those terms are used in the whole ordinance, right there.
that's what I thought.
It's not defined anywhere and it's not in anything else.
Yeah.
So,
That's
Yeah.
why we scratch. By
so good, if someone comes in and says, well, I want to have a tow business. Could you sneak it in under something else?
And there's several new developments out there. If you wanted to start a small tow truck company, you could. I mean, some of those big shop spaces that I park my tow truck inside and I park the few vehicles I've towed kind of out back. I mean,
Right.
there's some space out there if that's what somebody wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
somebody.
Okay. So really it's the two, probably the pawn shops. And do we think it's even a problem to have a pawn shop? There used to be an
Two.
antique mall out there. I don't know,
Yeah.
is that still there?
No.
No.
No? Okay, that used to be out there, I remember, but I mean, is it a concern? And then selling manufactured homes. I don't know.
I not biased one way or another, I guess, but we have enough other protections in the ordinance, I guess, if somebody decided to start a mobile home sales, I mean, they'd have to at least follow the ordinance when it comes to, you know, landscaping, where they put the product, they can't block, you know, views. I mean, there's a lot of things that would I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like our ordinance is strong enough that if those types of businesses came in, and at one time they may have been a worry, now our ordinance is strong enough that they come in and they want to sell those products, they're gonna have to pay to play. They're gonna have to, you know, build out a good lot. They're gonna have to build out a developed business model, and they're gonna have to follow the ordinance. So I wonder if they're not a worry anymore, I guess.
I just wanted to bring it up.
I'd be opposed to any mobile home sales lot out there.
Or if you wanted to cover yourself, you could just put after the open sales areas and permitted, you could excluding manufactured homes or something.
Yeah.
You chose to do
Good.
that.
You know,
That would be an easy thing to do.
we're not we're not concerned about the pawn shop. I'm not.
I just don't see it as I mean, I don't know, I've been in pawn shops before. Some are really nice, some are a little sketch. But
And
I don't see a concern with the pawn shop.
if they sell
I
guns
did
and ammo, they're
last
less tax, so they'll do good there.
time. So,
Me neither.
okay, so we're all agreeing with Gary's proposal to put it behind number 11, open sales area excluding manufactured homes, whatever is. used there.
Manufactured, modular, mobile.
Yeah, whatever's used in 27 and stuff. And then Gary said the other thing that he took out was our current ordinance, page 196, it's 6B, appropriate shade trees. The current one, I mean, specifically lists trees. And I think that's a little narrow. I agree. It should be taken out. So, but otherwise, everything else was
The types.
the specific.
We want landscaping, but I don't know if we need to say you can only use these specific six trees. or-
So it lists like white swamp oak, ginkgo, the accolade elm, Amer maple. It specifically lists.
Stuff that you shall.
You're limited to what trees you could use.
Include the following,
That's what everybody complains about.
and then everything else. If it's not on the list, it has to be approved by the zoning administrator. It seems with all the varieties of trees we have, it seems limited. So that was taken out, and I think everybody's probably good with that.
Sure.
So,
Not to argue, but you go over to Hillcrest and look at what it looked like 40 years ago when they planted popular trees that live about 15 years. There are some trees that are,
But that's the issue too, is that I've had people complain that these types don't last very long, or they don't last in this weather very well, or.
We're in that soil.
so, yeah,
yeah.
The soil is.
it's got a high water table.
That's where, so that works both ways.
Yep. Does the white swamp oak would probably do fine.
Well, I won't be here when they die anyways.
Me neither, so.
I'm just hoping to see acorns on some of the oaks we're planting. So. But otherwise, I was fine with all of this. Anybody else see other concerns in there? Okay. We need a motion to approve the proposed,
Move it to county commission meeting.
move it to the county commission with the one proposed change.
Yes.
So I would move to, move the, proposed changes to the ordinance with the addition to the county commission for review.
Second,
You ready, Bill? We can do a roll call.
Huber,
yes.
Loest,
Yes.
Kettering,
Yes.
Hummel,
Yes.
Welsh,
Abstain.
Clark.
Yes.
Motion passed.
One last order of business is to see if we have any public comment tonight. Seeing none. Okay. At that point where somebody can adjourn the meeting.
So moved, Loest.
I would
Oh, sorry. Whoa,
open, sorry, I didn't jump on a comment.
that's fine.
I come back to what I talked to about last meeting or the meeting before about looking at ideas to help promote economic development in the county. And we had a prime example with that aviation fuel plant that up north that went to North Dakota. That's billions of dollars over a few years of revenue to counties, and we need revenue in this county.
I would be more than happy to work with you anytime you're available, and anybody else on this commission, just to get some general ideas generated. I'm also very interested in it.
Well, AI is a hot topic, but I'm just afraid we're already way behind on that.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah. AI and of course, value added agriculture.
So from a planning commission standpoint, we, obviously can work together, make recommendations and, adjust or update ordinances to follow. From a county commission standpoint, you guys can obviously hopefully feed that up through local representatives and we maybe need to look too is there a legislative session coming up where the work product of a group like this could be heard at the state level? Because obviously if we say, hey, we're open for business, this type of business and this type of business, and then at the state level, we say the other thing, that's just going to impair our ability. So I do think, again, I don't know the state legislator timetable. I don't know any of that. That's not my expertise
Well-
and I don't want it to be, but if they have something,
Here sent a letter out from our executive director on GOED, and they have suggested that every county invite in those legislatures that have an impact in their county and talk about county government and the need for income. And I want to bring that up at the next county meeting to ensure that we at least consider doing that, because we passed a budget, but the budget wasn't meeting the expenses. So
Yeah. Pretty a short-term decision, so
Yeah. Well,
can't do it forever.
I think it would be very important first to have a working group who could decide what types of industries we want to attract. Our neighbors to the north up in Freeman are finding out right now that there is such a thing as bad development. You can have development that turns out to be a lemon and ends up ruining the landscape and the beauty of the natural beauty of the county. And also can turn people away from wanting to live here. I grew up in Sioux City, and I know from personal experience what bad development looks like. And there's a reason why the kids called it Sewer City. And that's because they brought the interstate highway right up the river next to the packing houses and the hog barn. Hog Hotel, they called it. And there was a great big pile of manure there as you entered the city, and it said, "This gold is free for the hauling." Well, that sounds funny to people from the Midwest because we know what they're talking about. But when Gateway got going in Sioux City, I had very good friends in the banking and real estate industry who tried to bring in high-level executives to work for Gateway. And when they landed at Sioux City Airport, and the realtors or bankers or developers drove them from the airport to Gateway, they had to pass the stockyards, and it stunk. And you get one chance to make a good first impression, And that was the impression they got. And that's a very big part of the reason why Gateway moved its headquarters to California, and then it folded. So it would be very important, I think, for this planning commission and for our county commission to decide what types of industries we want to attract. And before we bring in people from Pier or anywhere else, we need to decide what we want. And tourism is an obvious play. Whether or not we have the capacity to really develop it is another question. But I think we should, get a group of people together and start brainstorming ideas. It doesn't really take that long. I've done a lot of that kind of thing where you brainstorm ideas and come up with a list of priorities and determine whether or not they make any sense.
So how have we done focus groups in the past, or task force, I guess, in the past? Have we posted it, public notice? Have we just done an open forum?
Well, what we've done in the past on the solar and the wind, I think, didn't we, I think we advertised it in the paper.
Yeah, we respond to the 12 or 15 people that don't want it.
Right. And that's not what we want. I don't think we have to do that. I think we as a group should be able to meet in an open forum and discuss it. It wouldn't hurt any to invite some people from local industry in, and from city government and from the utilities. Whether they come or not, it's another question. But we should invite them. And, if they've got any sense, they'll come. Because we could do something they don't like. And they should be here to voice their opinions. So I would say it'd be by invitation.
We're gonna get to 12.
Yeah.
No, I'd say it'd be by invitation. We invite people that we want to hear from. We don't have to be, I know what you're saying, Don, and you do get that, but not necessarily.
At least they're sharing their voice. I mean, just because maybe somebody doesn't like what they have to say, at least they're saying it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think logistically, and again, how do we make a smart, measurable goal? I mean, there's some specifics here where, I kind of want to understand some more, I guess, is because again, are we going to do this as a part of a regular meeting? Our regular scheduled meeting? Are we going to have a non-quorum listening session at Ben's Brew Station or something and see if maybe that would engage a different group of people and allow us to gain valuable information we can bring back to here? I think we need to put some thought into it, I guess, because I think if we do it as a regular meeting in that format, we may get the results we've seen before. And if we feel like this is valuable, maybe we need to look at doing a different format. We just got to make sure it's applicable to the open laws and we're not, discounting a group of people or whatnot. So I just think we want to make sure we look at that. I think it's valuable. I think we need to maybe keep moving a little bit because, like, I think to Don's point is if we don't provide a work product to the state until late next year, it's probably too late. They're going to go through another budget cycle. They're going to go through getting beat up again in the newspaper. And we're going to have really no work product, but at least if we can say, hey, here's some recommendations, I think that'll be the goal.
I think too, it's not just a recommendation. We have to provide a form of education so that people understand what the need of it is.
Mhm.
So that they understand that
Right.
their taxes could go up 40% next year because
It's either this or this.
Yeah.
We either bring in,
or you quit feeding people that.
yeah, the pool gets a little bigger, the pie gets a little bit bigger by bringing somebody in to help us, or the pie keeps getting bigger and we have to cut it for the same number of people. So kind of have to like I said, and I think people need to be realistic, just because we change or make ordinances that are attractive to certain types of industry doesn't mean that type of industry will bloom overnight.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we need to start making ordinances.
Well,
I think what we need to do is to meet and talk about it. And I would suggest that it be done in public in this room, by this group. I don't think we should have limit ourselves to having a non-quorum meeting. I don't know. I mean,
You can
I'm
have,
retired, so I've got probably more time than you do, but
you can have a quorum. We just need to have enough advance to put a notice in the paper.
exactly. And so if we don't talk about it, if we don't start, we'll never finish. I guess that would be a good way to put it.
I agree with that.
You need to have the school system in, because
Kids,
Eventually.
70% of the tax money goes to the school system.
Right.
Or
You
some such high amount.
You have to do that eventually, but you don't have to do it immediately. What you have to do immediately is you have to have this group of people sit down and talk about it. And I mean, I've done a lot of facilitation in my life. That's what I used to do as a commander, is get everybody in the room and brainstorm ideas. And, that uses a process called multi-voting or some other way of limiting or narrowing down the list of priorities. It's easy enough to do. And it doesn't take a long time.
Kind of did it as a strategic plan meeting in the past, but that's one option also. And whoever can either invite people to it, or we can have it just an open forum for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whichever way.
I just think if we're gonna make a directive of doing this, we need to be very clear of what it is the ask,
Goal.
what the goal is, what the ask is, because if you put, hey, the strategic planning is gonna, public hearing is gonna happen at the planning commission on December 9th or whatever our next day would be. That's just gonna fall on deaf ears, right? Hey, the planning commissioning, is open up to ideas of industry or growth or whatever. I don't know what you call it, right? Culture, whatever. I just want people here, I guess is all I'm saying. Like I said earlier, I don't care if we disagree, at least your voice was heard. So I would prefer a room that is full, and I would prefer, like you said, people to come in and give us the why. I've been in another community and this worked in that community. I think it'll
Yeah.
work here.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. And so again, if we do it, I think we should do it. I think we don't make something happen soon, right? Then December 9th hits, and then January 8th hits, and then
Right.
here we are, right? Because we only meet once a month. So if we're gonna do it, I just think we need to be specific with what if we're gonna direct Gary and Bill to do something, or an announcement to be made at the county level, that's fine. Commissioner level, I just think we need to be very mindful of what that is. And
Well, how long do we need, Gary, to advertise something like this? If we were to have a special meeting of the planning commission to discuss development, just keep it that general.
We can have commission pick the moderator too, and just doesn't necessarily have to be all of you. It can be someone that's on here who can report back to everybody too.
Right.
Have it as a separate meeting. This person's the facilitator, and we're gonna talk specifically about economic development in the county and try and get ideas from the public of what they would like to see, and just have that kind of discussion.
My understanding, Gary, along with what you're just talking about right there, is that I believe it was Lincoln County that has had such a group to talk about challenges. And they've taken a couple commissioners, a couple planning and zoning people, maybe a banker or two, a real estate man, maybe education.
Actually designed more just for the financial aspects of the county and what they spend the budget on. And when people keep saying that we're not spending the money, we're outrageous in spending money all the time. A group, outside group like that comes in, they do an analysis and they say, well, I'm not seeing where the county's not being frugal or whatever. And that's more what that one is, but there's a lot of different ways to tackle something.
I also wonder with the holidays, you know,
Yeah,
that this might be the worst time.
you're gonna wanna wait till after.
Yeah. But I do think, you know, and Gary, with your experience, definitely correct me if you're wrong. You know, if we do something like that, is a 7 o'clock meeting good? Or is it a lot of notice and put it during the workday? So that way the business manager for the school district puts it on their calendar
Right.
and school board members put it on their calendar and whatnot. Again, I have a job just like everyone else, but adding another night to my week. Sometimes a lot harder than me just saying, hey, on Tuesday, January 12th, I gotta be out for 2 hours in the afternoon. And I guess I don't know. I mean, in the past, the gas company, the BY Waters, I mean, have we been more successful if it's during the workday or less successful?
We had a few at our task force meeting. I think generally, they're still.
But the-
out to the
but the-
night.
But the thing is, Gary, is the citizenship doesn't understand county finance. And they don't understand that we're 3.5 million short on revenue over expenses for the coming year. And that's gotta come from someplace or something stops.
Did
That's the difference.
anyone here go through like the Yankton 101 or whatever the Thrive is put on where don't they come and meet the county
They-
commission? And whatever,
No, they don't.
I saw them,
Came to our-
they got a tour, right? And like, didn't Patty tell them a little bit of, oh, okay. but-
Usually it's the chair.
Yeah. Yeah, I think from what I gathered on that was very insightful for that group of people. I mean, mind you, from 2019 to 2023, I worked for a school district in leadership, so I understand how the taxing works and all of that and the mills and whatnot. Maybe that's where we need to start. I don't know. I just don't want to belabor it. And like I said, then December 9th rolls around, we don't have a idea. I don't know. I just want to make sure, but I do agree that we can't do anything from now till the end of the year. It's just too hard with holidays and travel and weather and whatnot. But what is it we're gonna do in January? I don't know.
We can meet and decide what we wanna do.
We
It could
could,
be this group here.
you're correct.
We could meet and decide what we want to kick off in January.
Right.
Because otherwise it'll be what we want
Yeah.
to kick off in February or March.
Yeah. And maybe that's what we bring to the December 9th meeting. Yeah. Yeah. What it is. Yeah. Yeah.
That way.
Yeah.
So, maybe we all go home and brainstorm. And bounce some ideas off of each other, but I think it's still gonna actually outside of this room. And you may get your top 10 businesses or employers at some point in time in a meeting or two.
Not all of it.
That, I think tourism is probably up there, maybe number one somehow. Ag,
Yeah, obviously.
So.
Yeah.
But, I'm not very creative.
I have been kind of involved off and on with the Vermilion Chamber over the last, decade plus, because I went to college over there, right? And they had some stuff during manufacturing.
We can excuse you for that.
Yeah. It's okay, we won on Saturday, so. The first time since 2021, but anyway, yeah, you can eat crow over there. Anyway. And I was over there for this, they had a speech not too long ago, and the VCDC, Vermilion chamber, development company, whatever. They're actually advocating for now Burbank, Elk Point, and a lot more of like a regional approach. And I'm not sure again if at Clay County's level, what they're doing too to kind of, are they helping facilitate that conversation? But you know, the spokesperson for VCDC was very, very open and saying, if we grow Elk Point's economy, we grow Vermilion's, right? If we make sure that Burbank is taken care of, Vermilion will be taken care of, right? And so I'm not sure if that's just coming from, hey, VCDC needs to have a bigger pool of businesses they're supporting to get more members, or if that's coming from Clay County and Union County are saying, hey, if we work together, we succeed together. Right.
You know, another thing is it's about income, but this deal that we tried to put together, sharing EMS. Now two counties,
Yeah.
months after we
Yeah.
tried it,
You and Bond.
counties succeeded. Well, we gotta either change our thinking or maybe we're smarter than they are. I don't know.
With Bond Home trying to share Paul or whatever his name is, but yeah,
We got, those are the kind of things we gotta put on the table and think about.
yeah.
In addition to,
John said, we have our 8 meeting in 3 weeks here. And those are the kind of things that we bring up and discuss at that meeting. Also to get the ball rolling.
Maybe the,
Very
Yeah,
well.
Sherry's been,
Do you guys know what December's looking like yet? Are we gonna be pummeled with 5 CUPs or anything?
We have a rezone, we have conditional use permit, and then 6 or 7 plots.
Okay, so not bad,
Yeah.
nothing too,
Rezone is.
So it's a dual zone that's got like this much and one other zone on it. It's pretty much, and then
We're just taking it clean.
okay. Because I do think we should put this on our December as something like discuss county development, something general like that. And then we can bring maybe our ideas and have, Mike, you can start helping us ferret some things out, but we've discussed a couple of things. We've discussed, you know, what industries or whatever could come here, and then we discussed educating the taxpayer. I'm not sure if this group, as this group, it's our job to educate the taxpayer. That might fall on a different group of maybe a couple county commissioners, a couple of us, and that, because I don't think us putting together little fact sheets that tell the taxpayer when you get your tax bill, and we're gonna go through the line items with you. I mean, that's not a zoning
yeah.
responsibility. Our job as zoning is,
planning and zoning.
well, but we don't,
Planning and
but we don't plan the taxes, Don. That's a county commissioner's job. Our job here, let me finish, please. Our job here is, if we get these businesses we want to bring, okay, it's our job to look at this and say, where can they go in our county? What is helping them? What is preventing them? But I do think it's a good idea for us to look to see what do we want to attract, and then we set that up for that. But I sat on the county commissioner, Don. I know very well where you and your frustration with people not understanding the budget and people not understanding this is our income, these are our expenses, this is what's rising here. But that is not our job. We're not elected officials to do that.
So I've got to go, and I'm
Yep.
sorry to interrupt you, Don. I've got to pick up a kid here at 2:45, or sorry, 7:45. But real quickly, the communication about the county's budget. I just heard that for the first time tonight from Don. I didn't know that. I didn't know we had a problem. I didn't know that it was a number. So maybe the
We've
commissioners,
had open meetings.
that doesn't
Put it
do
in the
anything
paper,
for
yeah.
anybody.
20 articles in the paper.
well, let me,
I know. I know.
to Dan's point, I do read the paper. And when I looked at that layout in the newspaper, I still don't understand. That thing was as cloudy as any cloud I've ever been in. And
The budget?
The big.
yeah, the big budget. Now, I'm not a
You're good to go.
CPA, I'm not an accountant, but I know
We'll see you on the
how.
ninth. We'll see you on the ninth.
Hi, Dan.
Yeah,
Appreciate your service.
I was a banker for 10 years and I know how to read a profit and loss statement and I know how to read a balance sheet. And what I read in the newspaper was completely opaque.
Because you were a banker and you know what you started with and you knew what you ended with. And
That,
we don't have a frickin' idea what we start with.
well,
I think
that's, I could see
That's still on
that I
record,
could
Bill.
see for sure. Is that
Are you-
somehow or another, we went from having a balanced budget or relatively balanced
Surplus.
and even a surplus.
Last year.
And in 1 year, we went to a position where we had to put $3.5 million of reserve just to balance the book.
Not right.
Let's focus,
Not
let's,
right.
whoa,
We
whoa.
had 20-some million in 3
Let's-
years ago. We've used that money.
Let's focus 100% on what it is we're gonna do. I like Sherry's idea, December 9th. Discussion on county development or something open-ended like that. I would ask that the people who, again, we all volunteered to be here, besides, I guess, Don, he got elected and they said, hey, you also have to do this too. But we all volunteered to be here. So if you have somebody or a voice of somebody that you feel is important, please pull on them to be here on the 7th, because it's going to be hard for us to develop with just our voices, right? We're gonna get off topic. We're gonna get in the weeds, versus, hey, here's the ask. Gary, there's some,
buy-in from the people. We want them to understand so they can respond reasonably.
Yeah.
that is a thing that's been happening since, 1776 or whatever. We've always wanted the citizens to do the right thing and respond reasonably, and then all of a sudden we threw some tea in the ocean or something, so, in a bay.
I'm gonna
So-
pay for it.
Anyway, so let's do that. Let's December 9th, let's add that to it. I guess I employ each of us to contact one person, even if they don't show up in the room, that you think has an important voice in development in this county, and at least a statement or ask them a couple questions and bring that information to the December 9th meeting.
Okay.
Somebody other than ourselves. So that's kind of, I think, would be realistic and really good. And then, yeah, we can go from there. And then I'll basically prime us for something early next year.
Gary, would you put that out in an email to everybody? Just so we have a reminder.
Yep. And so I think,
Kind of ground rules.
if you guys think developing a questionnaire would help, that's something I'm more than willing to probably knock out in the next week and send you guys, so that way we ask our person the same questions, or if you guys feel like you're good without that, I'm okay. I just think it needs to be more open-ended, because we don't really have the yellow brick road laid out yet. So asking questions for that point down a road and we don't even know if we're gonna build that road yet, I think then that doesn't help us any, so. Okay, any other comments for tonight? Okay. Nick, I know what you want to say, so why don't you make the motion? Oh, Sherry did, I guess.
It just needs a second.
Yeah, but it was on the floor, so Nick, okay, and then we could roll call vote. Okay, all in
Aye.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.